Hey now everyone, before we get into this deep dive breakdown of Skeleton Crew's premiere episode, spoiler warning! New Star Wars is upon us, and based on the 2-episode premiere, it appears that John Watts and Chris Ford know themselves some Star Wars, at least how to make us fans feel nostalgic about the early years of George's far, far away galaxy. Hell, even if you have kids who aren't in the know, or you yourself aren't into the wars, Skeleton Crew still manages to suck you in thanks to its impressive-looking practical worlds, the plethora of costume aliens, the classic-looking tech, and quite frankly, the kid cast. The kid cast and them being the main drivers of this show's story was my biggest concern going in. It's a big ask for 4 kids to lead a brand new series and have both adults and younglings buy into their performances as being authentic. But I have to say that the young actors, in addition to Nick Frost's SM33, are indeed the stars of the series so far. The interactions between the friend groups, and then when Wim and Neil begrudgingly team up with Fern and KB, just scream being a kid in the 80s. If you are in Gen X, or even a millennial, how could you not relate to Wim playing with his Star Wars toys, and then pretending to lightsaber duel his best bud Neil? Or Fern and KB with the speeder getting into races. Hell, the joys of riding bikes in general with friends back in the day before handheld tech ruined what it was like to be a kid untethered by devices. I just found all the kid cast interactions to feel genuine and well acted, all things considered. These kids are far from pros, but for the material they were given, they're doing a damn fine job bringing Wim, Neil, KB, and Fern to life in an authentic way. Some of my favorite moments are just simple exchanges between the kids that remind me of my old friend group back on Mason Drive in Pittsburgh, PA. Fern busting Wim's balls is priceless, but exactly how kids their age would act. Those two already have a great contentious dynamic that borders on how Han and Leia first interacted when they met on the Death Star. Fern is clearly in control and makes sure Wim knows he isn't, and that he's essentially a scruffy-looking nerf herder every chance she gets. Then, Wim becoming the fall guy and being blamed for everything is exactly what would happen if a bunch of kids did something they shouldn't have done. It is impressive to me that in just 2 episodes it feels like the motivations of the kids are clearly fleshed out, and we know exactly the type of person each kid is. You can't always say this about new shows, especially Star Wars shows. A big knock on The Acolyte is that many fans felt that the characters were underdeveloped, at least in terms of what was driving them, but that isn't the case at all in Skeleton Crew. By the end of the episode, it's clear what is driving each of the main characters, be it the kids, SM33, the pirates, and even Jod, who we barely met at the end of episode 2, but who also starred in the first episode's opening sequence if you were paying attention. Which leads me to the other brilliant aspect of Skeleton Crew, its many mysteries that will surely get fleshed out en route to what should be, oh no they didn't just reveal that, types of moments. There are 3 main mysteries that all have me deep into speculation mode, my favorite mode as a Star Wars fanboy. First, what is up with Jod Nod Wood, who to me is clearly Captain Silvo, the dude who got mutinied in the beginning sequence. How long has he been a pirate? Was he a long-tenured captain, and if so, how did he mess up the credit heist so bad? Was he looking for something else? Using the pirates all along, or did he just screw up and have bad intel on the freighter? It appears he can use the Force, so was he always a pirate, or was he classically trained before the fall of the Republic? If not trained, how did he discover his Force abilities, and has he always used them for scoundrel-esque missions? Did he use the Force to become a pirate captain? And if so, was he using the pirates for some sort of endgame, like finding a relic of the Jedi or Sith, or a treasure he believes could turn his life around, like one that was prophesied to him when he was young? Hell, if he can use the Force, why did he wait for the kids to get locked up with him before getting the key? I just love how murky Jod is and the lore potential he brings via learning more about his past. The second mystery is how and why was the Onyx Cinder on Attin? The planet is clearly being hidden due to its eternal treasure lore, and it is described as lost. So how did SM33 and the Skeleton Crew find it? Why did they seemingly crash when they found it? Because the Cinder was clearly on its back when it fired back up, and it appeared to have decades, if not hundreds of years of overgrowth on top of it. Why was the crew all dead? Did anyone make it off the ship? Why did SM-33 seemingly sacrifice himself to pull the lever we see him holding on to? All these whys are exactly why Skeleton Crew resonated with my speculation brain. The last, and in my opinion the most intriguing mystery, the premiere tease, was at Attin itself. We were told going in that this planet was a gem of the Old Republic, and that there's more to it than meets the eye. And thankfully, after the premiere, we've been given some breadcrumbs to start to guess exactly what may be going down on this planet that has been hidden away from the galaxy for possibly hundreds of years. We now know that no one has left or arrived on Attin for a long ass time, like very long. The kids never even saw a star before they broke the barrier, nor did they really know much about heavenly bodies in general. The fact that the planet is wrapped in a barrier that must serve as a cloak also adds to the mystery of Attin. Why is it being hidden? Does it truly have an eternal treasure? And if so, what could it be? Is it resource-based, traditional loot, or something possibly rooted in the fantastical side of Star Wars, like a Jedi, Sith, or even a Zepho or Rakuten relic? Hell, it could be as powerful as the Starforge and KOTOR for all we know. What's clear though is that the rest of the galaxy believes the planet to be mythical and one of legends, so it clearly has some sort of mystical veil that needs to be removed before the series ends. Even on-world, things are suspicious, such as the prevalence of safety droids, forbidden forests, and the great work mantra the society seems to buy into full-heartedly, as if they're loyal communists to the cause. I hope everyone caught that Farah said they believe in the great work their planet is doing for the peace of the Republic, not the New Republic. So it does seem like people on Attin haven't been exposed to the galactic politics for quite some time, as in they don't know that the Old Republic became the High Republic, which became the Grand Republic, which became the Galactic Empire, which then became the New Republic. Attin is a time capsule planet, so there has to be a massive reason why that is. One early guess I have is that some of the Cinder crew made it off the wreck, found the eternal treasure, then made a pact to hide the planet for good. Or something was discovered on it so long ago that it was determined that moving forward Attin and its citizens would be charged with keeping it secret until the end of time. I love this stuff, which is why S-Crew is resonating pretty hard with me. Hell, so much so, I just dropped a ton of cheese on the Black Series line to commemorate the nostalgia I felt by watching the first 2 episodes. Alright, top moments time. This first one is pure 1980s nostalgia, and it's Wim playing with his Sith and Jedi figures, and then flying his little handheld ship around just like I used to do with my Kenner Star Wars toys. Then, to put the cherry on top, he and Neo act out a saber duel complemented with dismemberment and disembowelment. You can tell these kids love Star Wars just as much as we all did, and some do now. Their wonder is similar to our wonder when we first watched whatever piece of Star Wars our elders showed us, or we blindly stumbled upon. It's a beautiful thing to experience, so I loved seeing Wim and Neo use their imaginations over their shared love of the Force. Up next is the Onyx Cinder taking off from Attin. Besides the hijinks with the kids trying to get out and off the ship, I just found it to be a rad-looking visual moment. Seeing the ship rise out of the earth like a sleeping giant was awesome and showcased how long it has been rotting in that valley. Watching it correct itself to an upright position and then take off into the blue night of the Attin sky was a visual treat. While the ship is clearly this show's MacGuffin, it served its purpose well with its escape from its foresty grave. Moving on to another standout, I have to go with SM-33's introduction and then his flight training school. The fact that he's a practical puppet just made his zombie-like intro that much better. I love how he went right into his first mate protocol to clean up the stowaways, but then how easily he was tricked by Fern into believing she was the new captain. This droid has almost a childlike allegiance to his pirate life code, which makes him have a clear and unique personality that we really haven't seen in a Star Wars droid before. He gets even better when he rushes through all the ship's systems to the kids who literally have never seen a starship before, let alone fly one. This dude takes the next top moment too, thanks to his fighting skills. Seeing him roll up on Vane and the other pirates to defend his diminutive captain was priceless, especially when everyone thinks he'll be a pushover until he starts hydraulically punching the living crap out of everyone on Borgo, which in my opinion is a standout Star Wars location now. It's like Chalam's Cantina on steroids, so I absolutely love that they leaned into that with a nice tour of the port and its colorful looking denizens. Finally, if that Force music plays in any variation of Williams' original motif, it's impossible for me not to well up with tears of happiness and joy. So yeah, whether Jod used the Force or not, hearing that theme ramp up as the key floated through the air gave me the same feeling as Luke looking at the twin suns, or Rey grabbing the Skywalker family blade in the snowy woods of Starkiller Base. It hit hard, and I loved the moment for it. Let's close out with some Easter eggs and references. We get what must be the new opening crawl for New Republic era shows, or at least the same style Ahsoka used. Hell, they even do the patented camera pan down to a planet with a spaceship coming into frame, so lots of references here. Then, we get right into what had to be a nod to the opening of A New Hope with the boarding of the freighter. Everything from the people lining up with their blasters and hearing ominous clanking on their hull to the explosive entrance of the pirates screamed Vader boarding Leia's ship. Hell, they even went as far to mirror the scene where Vader kills Antilles for lying about the ship being on a diplomatic mission. This time, it was Silvo accusing them of lying about no credits in the vault because why would it be magnetically sealed? The parallels were spot on. Alright, Brutus is a Schistavanen, a species we first saw in Chalams, but if you want to get deep, the fact that his name is Brutus and he turns on Captain Silvo does have a similar feel to Brutus betraying Julius Caesar. Et tu, Brutus? Wim is seen playing with Jedi and Sith figures, plus the mimed lightsaber battle. The bus driver appears to be an RX series droid from the Star Tours ride and other properties. Wim busts out his story pad multiple times and reads things about Jedi and Sith. One of the stories is about a guy named Druin, who I couldn't find, but regardless, the dude loves him some Force users just like a lot of us fans do. Hell, he even draws one in his digital Etch-a-Sketch. Farah mentions the Great Work, which could be related to Chancellor Lena So's Great Works initiatives during the High Republic. These included Starlight Beacon, the Republic Fair, comms relays, and back to cultivation. It's not hard to tie them together considering Attin's great work sounds like a society crafted to maintain peace and harmony over disorder. This is one I'm guessing many others missed, but Fern is supposed to race a Bonge Falfa on her speeder. It turns out that Harrison Ford played a Bob Falfa in George's American Graffiti, so that has to be a nod to that character. Wim used Wizard multiple times, which was first heard back in TPM from Kitster, Annie's little buddy. Wim also speculates that his find in the woods could be a sunken Jedi temple, which is indeed a defense those temples had as seen on Lothal in Star Wars Rebels. This one was teased by Watts himself, but it was awesome to see Neil's family watching the same Life Die hologram that Lumpy watched in the holiday special many decades ago. And how could you not love all those little blue elephant kids watching it like Tulu? Hopefully everyone caught on to SM-33 standing for Smee and referencing Hook's first mate from Peter Pan. SM also gives us some planet references in Adelon, which is where the Bendu is from in Rebels, and then Aldhani, which was the heist planet from Andor. Port Borgo, which again I absolutely love, was canonized in the Smuggler's Guidebook from 2018, but it also has legends ties to the Rakatan Empire and their Borgo Prime colony. It's a teak! Not the same one from the Ewok movie, but the same species. Speaking of creatures from old school Star Wars projects, the fuzzball here first appeared in Michael Jackson's Captain EO experience that used to be at Disney. One could argue that SM-33 and Neo were also loosely based on characters from Jackson's crew, so another deep cut egg. Vane returns from Mando Season 3, and he still seems to just be a lieutenant, not the captain. He served Gorian the Pirate King before Brutus. The bar lady who talks with the girls looks like a Thelan, the same species as Jecki from Acolyte. This dude is getting a Hutt Cartel tattoo, so I guess they still rockin' even though Jabba has been dead for some time. He's getting his tattoo from a droid that looks like 88 from Jabba's palace. Hey, it's Urkel as a cyborg pirate. Nice Jaleel White sighting here. And as mentioned in a top moment, Mick Giacano infused the Force theme into the motif he wrote for the Briggs scene. Man, that was a lot to say, but I guess that means there's a lot more to this kids show than many of us imagined. The stage has been set wonderfully. Here's to hoping the series keeps the quality coming. Thanks for watching. Please consider subbing to the channel or becoming a member by hitting up the buttons below. Like, comment, share, and clip, because there's always time for Star Wars time.